Grammys. I hardly know her. Sorry guys, I could not think of a good like hook for this video, so that's all you're getting from me. What is up? My name is Ellie. If you're new here, it's nice to meet you. If you're a returning viewer, what's up, Shadi? So the Grammys was last night. Well, it was last night for me. For y'all, it'll hopefully be like a week ago. Pray for me that I get this video out before the Super Bowl, like please. But yeah, if you're not familiar with my channel, I cover a lot of music on here, specifically a lot of Kendrick Lamar. And if you can believe it, Kendrick Lamar was at the Grammys, along with a bunch of other super cool artists that I care about and I'm interested in. You know, I exist in multitudes and all that. I have many different artists that I enjoy. So I figured I would talk about the Grammys because I did watch the ceremony and I have thoughts. Also, guys, peep the outfit. I'm gonna show it off. It's giving like Grammys on a budget. This corset top actually has straps. Don't tell anybody, but I just tucked them in. It looks kind of stupid, but in concept, it works, right? So look, this is a ceremony full of lots of stuff. So I'm just gonna go through point by point. I have some notes written down on my spider phone. So I have some points written down. I'm going to go through the list and kind of just generally talk about my opinions on different parts of the show, different things that happened during the show, performances, things like that. Just some of my wider Grammys thoughts. You know, we're unpacking the 2025 ceremony. It was an interesting one. Very interesting indeed. Okay, so the first thing on my big Grammys unpacking list is just Doechii. Doechii gave me the first real moment of the ceremony that I feel like I really remember, and I guess the one that will stick with me, and that was of course her winning her award for best rap album, which, like, full transparency guys, I cried. I kind of like ugly cried when this happened because it was honestly one of those moments that felt super just beautiful and authentic, and I'd love to see Doechii, an artist who, I mean, I've been following since whenever she was signed by TDE, so like back in 2021 ish. That's kind of the earliest I remember her. And then also in her speech, Doechii talks about, you know, being the third woman in history to ever win that rap album category. And I don't know, I just think yesterday was such a wonderful day to be a woman. I felt so proud to see her on that stage just as a woman. And as someone who has these big ambitious goals for the future, like, it's kind of to see someone else's hard work pay off feels like a big deal, a big accomplishment for her, and one that I think is really inspiring for, I mean, me personally, and I think probably a whole bunch of other women out there. Yeah, I love her catching herself when she's like, there have only been 2 women to ever win this award, 3 women to ever win this award, like.
And 2 women have won. Lauryn Hill, 3 women have won.
That is, for me, one of the most iconic Grammys moments that I can remember, like, seeing in my life. I do also feel like it's pretty important to mention that Doechii released a single after the ceremony. I think it's called Nosebleeds, which is just such a talking her shit anthem. I've been listening to it all day. I think it is so good. And it really does capture the beauty of her winning that award, just how much of a great moment that felt like, because Doechii is such an underdog in so many ways. And I think especially her speech that she gave really reflected that, just talking about being a woman and a Black woman in the world that has to really fight for everything. And then like how good a real win off your own hard work feels after that, when the world keeps telling you, no, you can't do this, you can't do this, you have to be this. And then you just defy all expectations and do you anyway. I think that's just beautiful. After Doechii, I feel like it's important to talk about the host, Trevor Noah.
We'll just edit this out. It's not live. That's it is. There's nothing I can do. But think about it.
Because for some ungodly reason, the Grammys keep insisting on having a host when I feel like they don't really need one. Like, I feel like there was a year where the Grammys didn't have a host and it was completely fine. So I'm like, why do we keep doing a host? Because no one ever seems to like the host. And this year, I thought Trevor Noah was a mid-ass host. I thought he was quite average. Look, I don't really envy the job of a host. Like, it's kind of a thankless task. Just get up in front of thousands of people at home and in the crowd and just kind of, you know, make jokes that are pre-planned and based around like pop culture events. Like, you know, you're destined to be a little bit embarrassing and a little bit annoying. But like some of the jokes Trevor Noah made during this program, I just thought were so like, they just didn't land. Like there's a meme going around of Doechii like rolling her eyes at one of the things he said, or looking like she rolled her eyes at one of the things he said.
By the 13,000 members of the Recording Academy and 20 million illegal immigrants. And tonight, no matter what happens, history.
And I think it's so funny because like that is so me. When I watch these shows, that is so me. I'm like, why is Trevor Noah here? Who invited Trevor Noah to this show? And he's dragging out jokes about him looking like The Weeknd from like 2020. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And I mean, if we're going to talk about Trevor Noah, like we should also talk about one of the main things he discussed the whole entire broadcast, which was, of course, the California wildfires, which are obviously a big tragedy, like a devastating thing. And I guess that really was like their big thing this year. You know, every year it seems like the Grammys have a theme, some like cultural event that grounds them. And I guess being in LA and having LA just go through the fires, or I guess still be going through the fires, it's understandable that's their big thing. And I think that was one of the cooler aspects of the ceremony, that they were really focused on that. But I will also say there were some funny moments where he kind of just like something would happen and he would just pivot back to the fires, like as a means to change the subject. Like, okay, like Chappell Roan accepted her award for Best New Artist, and she gave this speech about labels need to pay their artists. They need to give their artists a livable wage and like health insurance. And then immediately after, Trevor Noah was just like, yeah, that's so deep. And you know what? Like, especially, you know, with the wildfires, like we need to think about giving people a livable. I'm like, bro, the wildfires? Like, what does this have to do? Okay. Like, you know, power to him for finding a way to segue that in. But I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny that he kept circling back to the wildfires like every chance he would get. Like Lady Gaga said something about trans people and Trevor Noah was like, yes, and the wildfires. Like, bro, shout out everyone dealing with the wildfires. My heart and prayers are with you. Don't cancel me. I just thought Trevor Noah was funny and he's kind of annoying. Okay, I think I've like permanently lost my light for the video, which is fine. We're just gonna ball out as we are. I don't know what happened. I charged the light for like 3 hours before I started filming. What can I say, y'all? I'm broke. I'm a broke college kid. Support this video, you know, boost me in the algorithms or whatever. I need money. I need money so badly. Like I'll do anything. Okay, after that, this is just a really great Grammy ceremony for white women, I have to say. It's a great Grammy ceremony for everyone, but especially for white women. This was a big year for them. I say them as if I am not a white woman myself. But I will say this, you know, the white woman in pop or whatever, they have kind of been lacking in recent years. There are no like, you know, iconic white women. They kind of all suck. They're kind of all boring. You know, Adele, Taylor Swift, they're like 40. You know, their time has passed. So who is stepping up to carry the torch? I thought it was no one. But this year, you know, we got Sabrina Carpenter. We got Billie Eilish. We got Chappell Roan. Like all up on the same stage, like performing, being awesome, doing their thing. I think white women pop music is back in a big way, you know, like. And I guess speaking of that, you know, Chappell Roan winning Best New Artist for me is like a W, like an uncontested W. I guess I would have preferred to see Doechii bring it home because I just am such a fan of Doechii. And I think that she has so much potential and is so amazing and a little bit more interesting to me than Chappell Roan. But Chappell Roan is still a wonderful artist, one that I really enjoy. I think is super cool. And I think her album was wonderful from what I've heard of it. Sorry, guys, don't, you know, throw tomatoes at me. I didn't listen to the full Chappell Roan album. I'm a terrible gay woman. But the Chappell Roan album was good. And I think her impact this year earned her that spot. I think it's fair that it went to her. And that's kind of a theme with the night. I feel like the nominations or the awards that went to people that I didn't necessarily want them to go for, like I would have preferred a Doechii there. I wasn't really upset with the outcome. It's not like, you know, Doechii was robbed. It's that Chappell Roan was equally as good, basically. I don't think I ever felt truly mad at an award the whole ceremony, which is a complete first for me with the Grammys. Like I usually have some type of issue. It's usually with the bigger awards, but this year, no notes. Y'all kind of ate with the nominations. Y'all kind of ate with the awards. I also do want to shout out Sabrina Carpenter in specific because it took me a minute to get sold on her. I wasn't always the biggest fan, but seeing her perform last night and then also just listening more to a lot of her big songs from last year, I feel like I'm firmly on the Sabrina Carpenter like hype train. I get the vision. I love her very like ditzy kind of bimbo vibes. I think ditzy really is like the perfect word. I'm surprised more people don't say that when they talk about her. But yeah, I think Sabrina was great. I loved her little performance. I think it was funny. I think it was humorous. And I think she did a wonderful job. And I will say maybe her music with its very like sexually charged edge isn't perfect for the Grammys, but she made it work. Deserving of the award she got. I love to see it. Okay, a little later in the ceremony, there was this weird little moment where like the president of the Grammys came out and he was like, yeah, guys, we were racist in the past and people called us out for being racist and like sexist and like, just bad. And I was like, okay, where's he going with this? And then he started talking about, The Weeknd called us out. And then like, surprise, here's The Weeknd.
Please join me in welcoming back The Weeknd.
Which, okay, this was the part of the show where I was completely gagged because I was like, the last person I expected to perform at the Grammys in 2025 is The Weeknd, my king, Abel. But to my complete and utter like shock, gag city, The Weeknd was there and he performed songs from his new album, Hurry Up Tomorrow, which, guys, I quite enjoyed that album. I think it's pretty good. And I thought the songs he did from it are some of my favorites. I think he did Pray For Me, Cry For Me. He did Cry For Me, which I think Cry For Me is easily one of the best songs on that record. I love the very kind of ominous vibes it has. And then he did Timeless, which of course he brought out Playboy Cardi for, which I really like Timeless. I liked it when it was teased at the concert he did in Sao Paulo. I like Timeless, the version that came out on streaming services, and I thought the Grammys performance of it was pretty solid. Although I will say, Playboy Cardi is such a bad live performer. Like, I get he likes to go mysterious or whatever and be kind of like, sneaky, creepy on stage and not really rap at all and just kind of make grunts. But like, bro, at a certain point, you're just like, you're hurting yourself because what person goes to the Grammys, the biggest stage, like for music, and your decision for your performance is just to like let the backing track play and you growl into the microphone a little bit? Like, what are we thinking? I feel like it would have been a really good opportunity for him to make a good impression like on audiences. Maybe we'd even see Playboy Cardi Grammy nominations in the future. Like, this could have been a great little moment of setup, but no, he just kind of got on stage. He danced around, he growled some, and then he dipped, which I thought was a choice. It was really a choice. I don't know. Playboy Cardi's kind of a dumbass though, so I'm not really surprised by that. I don't know, bro. If this is what Cardi is like on the tour, like respectfully, y'all can keep them concert tickets. I saw Cardi live in 2021, okay? That shit was kind of mid. So I will also say one interesting thing about the Grammys this year is that the ceremony kind of made me feel hopeful.
You are exactly who you need to be right where you are.
Which is weird to say because obviously I don't know any of the artists performing at the Grammys. Their opinions don't really matter to me, but this has been a really hard year so far, for I think anyone in any type of minority group, whether you're a person of color, whether you're queer, whether you're a woman, it's a shitty year, right? If you're not just the default guy that this world wants to view as the norm, which is why all these artists at the Grammys using their award speeches to celebrate marginalized people, to kind of give a voice to those without a voice. It felt very empowering, very inspiring. And it hit differently this year. I mean, there were more moments in this show that I actually cried at, which I don't really cry at award shows. I think it's kind of corny. I don't know, something about this year, some of the moments, they just hit differently. It feels more real. It feels more powerful. I feel like the Grammys just felt like confirmation that, in this very fucked up world that we live in, progress doesn't stop. Things do keep happening and people keep fighting for what is right. And I don't know. That's just a message that I think I imagine a lot of other people needed to hear right now. Sending love to all my audience, by the way, of course. I mean, I already kind of talked about Chappell Roan's acceptance speech and talking about giving artists a living wage and just like taking care of people in this world and not maybe falling into like some capitalist hellscape, or I guess falling into more of one than we already live in. And I mean, that moment hit. Like, that was a very important moment of the night. It felt very, I guess, true to her experiences and probably true to the experiences of a lot of Americans, you know, and just people in this country, that you work your ass off and you feel like you're just getting taken advantage of by your employers, by people in your life that are supposed to like help you make a living. Like, they're just ripping you off over and over. I mean, she's speaking the truth. And I think even though that comes from her personal experience, it's very relatable for a lot of people, because that is really the American like struggle at this point. Just people ripping you off when you're trying to bust your ass and do the best work you can. That is sadly what this country is. And I think her talking about that and being honest about it and her own experiences with it was very, very emotional and very powerful. I will say another one of the most memorable speeches for me was Lady Gaga getting on stage to accept her award with Bruno Mars and just saying, you know, what she said about trans people, about them being valid and cared about, that trans people will never stop existing. Like, this year has been particularly hard for queer people. You know, the president in office is passing laws every day that are stripping away rights for people, especially queer people in this country. And I think, you know, an artist like Lady Gaga to get up there and say that, the queer icon that she is. And then also to see a room full of major artists and people just applauding that sentiment, like, you know, that's special.
Trans people are not invisible.
And, you know, as a woman and as a queer person, I just feel like in some strange way, the Grammys kind of made me feel better about all the wildness of the world happening right now, which I think was very much needed. Okay, and then obviously I have to talk about this. Kendrick Lamar. Look, I'm a Kendrick stan. I talk about that a lot. I make a lot of Kendrick videos. And yeah, he swept his categories at the Grammys. Like, I can't remember. I think it was his second award speech where, you know, someone had come out with him talking about, you know, like, bring out the broom. Like,
somebody get the broom out. Get that broom out.
Yeah, he swept. Every single thing he was nominated for, I believe he won, which is insane to think about. And I think very deserving given Kendrick Lamar historically being robbed by the Grammys. I don't think they're ever going to live that Macklemore win over Good Kid, Mad City down, like, ever. I don't think Macklemore will ever live that down. But yeah, obviously this was a huge year for Kendrick Lamar. I expected him to get a lot of awards, mostly in the rap categories, but I was completely shocked that he got Record of the Year and Song of the Year. Like, Song of the Year to me was a real surprise, but then Record of the Year, I was like, wow, that's crazy. And it really does make me feel like maybe the Grammys actually diversified their voting base, because this feels like a pick that, you know, maybe 3-4 years ago, I just don't see the Grammys like giving Kendrick Lamar's Drake diss track where he calls Drake, you know, the worst stuff in the book. Like, I don't see them giving that Record and Song of the Year. Like, what? I don't know. Just crazy, but crazy in a good way. Obviously, I love Kendrick. I love to see him win. I loved both his speeches, and I guess to just feed into all the Kendrick videos I've done, like, I think it's interesting that his award speeches, he never mentioned Drake once. He's winning up there for a song completely about Drake, and he never mentioned Drake once. It's always about putting on for his city, about putting on for his loved ones and people that matter to him in his life. And I think that really is, you know, if you go watch, shameless plug, if you go watch my video that I made about Not Like Us, I mean, that is what I talked about the song really being about. You know, beyond just a diss track, it is a record about bringing people together. I think that's what Kendrick tried to achieve with this entire beef. And I think it's really powerful and also kind of expected, at least for me as someone who studies a lot of what Kendrick has done in this beef and how it relates to the rest of his career. Like, it's kind of expected that he would do something like that. But it's still cool regardless. You know, I love to see Kendrick on the Grammy stage, and I love to see him putting on for his city and for people who he cares about. Like, that's obviously awesome. And then I love Mustard getting to be up there. Like, he just seems so happy to be there. I feel like everyone with Kendrick seems so happy to be on that stage, which, like, yeah, I mean, they're at the Grammys. Like, hello?
You know I gotta do it, right? Mustard!
And you know, I'm very excited to see what this upcoming weekend is going to bring as far as Kendrick goes. Like, we'll see what the Super Bowl performance is looking like. I hope I can get this out before the Super Bowl because I'm going to look really stupid if I post this after Kendrick's already performed, but my hopes are high. I have high expectations. I think it will be very cool, very fun. I have high hopes. Okay, and last, but of course not least, I feel like I need to talk about Album of the Year because obviously that's the biggest category. It's what they say for the end of the night. And I have some feelings about what won Album of the Year. I have some feelings about what people have been saying about that win.
Of the Recording Academy, the Grammy goes to...
So I guess first off, before we get into what actually won, I do kind of want to talk about snubs for Albums of the Year because that has been one of the biggest points of conversation with this category this year. I mean, as it kind of always is, right? Okay, so first off, Billie.
All of the hard work.
I feel like one of the main points of conversation I've seen around Album of the Year has been about Billie being snubbed. And I guess just Billie being snubbed in general because she didn't win any Grammys. You know, she had like 7 nominations and no wins for an album that I think was genuinely pretty amazing. Like, obviously it's, I don't know if you can see, but it's like behind me right here. Yeah, I really do like that record, Hit Me Hard and Soft. But Billie received no Grammys tonight, which, hot take, I'm kind of okay with. I do really like Hit Me Hard and Soft, but when it comes to the record as a full album, I think that there are other albums that are just better at the Grammys. I think one of those albums is the one that won for Album of the Year, so I don't really see that category being a snub. I can more see Billie getting snubbed for song categories because Birds of the Feather is an amazing song. I'm really happy it got so many nominations because that is genuinely one of the best songs off her record. I think probably the best, and it's one of my favorite songs she's ever done. So I'm happy that it got nominated. I'm sad it didn't win anything, but I'll also say losing out to Not Like Us at the 2025 Grammys celebrating 2024 in music, like, I don't know. I don't really know how upset you can be that Billie's track didn't win when what did win is literally the song of the year, like uncontestably the song of the year. I mean, I can't really remember a time when it's been so clear cut, like what should win in that category. But Not Like Us was the obvious pick, and I don't really see any issue with it winning. So I don't really have a problem with Billie not getting any Grammys. I do feel like the record was great, and I wish it was shown some type of love at the ceremony. But in such a stacked year where music was so good, and you're against artists like Sabrina Carpenter, Chappell, Roan, Charli XCX, Beyoncé, Kendrick Lamar, like, I'm sorry, but like, I think it's okay for Billie not to get any Grammys this year. I'm sure she'll come with another record in a few years that will have many nominations and many wins. But in 2024, I mean, her record was great, but so were like so many other records that just also got nominated. So I personally don't feel like she was really snubbed. The other snub that I think is worth talking about, I feel like holds a lot more weight. And that is, of course, you know, Charli XCX. So look, I feel like Charli genuinely did expect her to win Album of the Year. I'm not gonna lie. She had an entire performance right before the category was announced with multiple songs, and it was just like one of the biggest highlights of the whole show. It was probably my second favorite performance under Doechii, who gave an amazing performance. I don't know if I already talked about that, but her performance was amazing. But yeah, Charli gave a great performance, very brat core, you know, and that record was 2024 in so many ways. And I feel like deep down, like, she deserved that Album of the Year category for this year. And I will agree that she was kind of snubbed for it. However, you know, if I were to make a list of like my favorite records of the year, I feel like Brat would probably be like 2 or 3, but like 5 or 6 is Cowboy Carter, the Beyoncé album that won this year, which I think is a great record.
I just feel very full and very honored.
I can't really be that mad that Beyoncé won over Charli because both records are about on the same level, albeit I do think Brat is a little bit better and was definitely more of a moment, but I can't really be mad at Beyoncé winning. So I feel sad Charli didn't get it, but I'm not like upset about it, you know? And look, speaking of Cowboy Carter and Beyonce winning, I'm not gonna lie, I was happy to see Beyonce bring home the award. Like, it feels right to see her with an Album of the Year Grammy when she's so historically not been able to get that award. You know, when she has like every other Grammy in the book, she's like the most winningest artist ever. I think it's very fair for her to get that award. I think it is kind of a legacy award. You know, it's something that I think they more reasonably should have given her for Renaissance. I feel like, did Harry Styles beat her that year? What the hell are the Grammys on? Be so for real. Harry Styles over Renaissance. But regardless, I think it's cool to see Beyonce get the award. I'm not going to be mad about that. I do kind of wish her acceptance speech was more than it was. It felt very kind of reined in for Album of the Year. I wanted it to be more of a moment, but you know, she is Beyonce. Does she really have to say anything? She could have just gone up there and been like, yeah, type shit, and just walked off. And I mean, that would have been that. No one could have said anything. I feel like my biggest hang up with that category, and I guess the thing that does make me the saddest probably, is that I think Beyonce as an artist is obviously massive. And I think there's no doubt in my mind that she will release more music in the future that will also be nominated for Album of the Year and probably stand a perfectly good chance of winning that award. However, I don't really know if Charli gets back to this point, which kind of does make me sad because I think Beyonce is obviously bigger than Cowboy Carter, but I don't know if Charli is bigger than Brat. And I would love to see her release another record that is just as big, just as successful, gets her back on that stage so she has the opportunity to win that award. But part of me also feels like that will be so hard for her to do because Brat was such a moment. It was such a kind of a viral thing that at a certain point Charli didn't even have control of. Like, it just was the moment. And I think that's really hard to recapture. And I don't know if she will ever get to the point again where she's going to the Grammys and has a reasonable shot at winning Album of the Year. And like, I would love for that to be wrong. I am a huge Charli fan. I've been following her for years and years. So please, Charli, release something like amazing and make me look like a dumbass. But I feel like that is my biggest like concern, or I guess disappointment, is that I would love to see Charli with that award. She's such a great musician, such a great artist. But realistically, I just don't know if she gets to this point again, like in the Grammys. I think she could have great records in her future. I'm confident she'll make great music going forward. She always has. But at the same time, I'm like, will she reach like Brat levels of popularity with her stuff in the future? Like critical acclaim paired with the commercial acclaim? I don't really know, but we'll see. You know, that's the future. You know, I hope that I can look back on this video and like however many years and be like, girl, what were you thinking? Charli, like, she took off after this. Like, I would love to see that. You know, I live for a world where Charli XCX is like a major pop star with her own sound and not like, you know, the major pop star she was in like 2013 that wasn't really her. I would love to live in that world. And I feel like 2024 kind of was that. I just hope that 2025, 26, 27, like the foreseeable future can be that as well for her. And I mean, like, let's be real. If we're going to talk about snubs, Saw Baby, you know, he deserved Album of the Year. Let's be honest.
Yeah, working that stick out the back of the truck, get feisty.
What Father's Day is to Nick Cannon, that's what the Grammys is.
Oh my gosh, y'all, my foot is so like historically asleep right now. It's not even funny. And yeah, those are my Grammys thoughts. This is kind of a messy like video, not scripted, obviously. You know, I do make stuff on this channel that is a lot more put together if, you know, you haven't seen my other stuff. But yeah, like, I hope y'all enjoyed this. Honestly, probably pretty easily the best ceremony that I can remember seeing in my life. So I was pleasantly surprised by what the Grammys offered this year, I have to say. I feel like maybe that has something to do with the fact that this is like the first year I can remember where I've genuinely known about and enjoyed like all the major artists who are nominated. And I guess I also am getting to the point in my life where I feel like I have kind of grown up seeing some of these artists like rise. Like, you know, I was watching Bizarre Vark on Disney Channel. I was watching Girl Meets World, you know. I knew about Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo back then. I remember Billie Eilish blowing up when I was in high school. Like, this is all stuff that I've been around for, so I kind of care more about them than I guess, you know, I have in the past for artists that kind of just, I always grew up having existing. Like I don't remember a time where Adele didn't exist. I don't remember a time without Beyonce. So yeah, overall, banger ceremony. If the records that have already come out that I assume will be nominated in 2026, Chromacopia, GNX, like if those are any kind of tell, I feel like the 26 Grammys has a lot of potential as well. So I'm looking forward to it. As I was looking forward to this one. Overall, W Grammys this year. And with that, that's all I have to say. I really, really do appreciate y'all watching this. Like I said, this is a more natural kind of chill video for me, not the usual thing I make on this channel, but still something fun. Also a cute little means of me showing off my microphone because yes, I got a new microphone. Mama's big balling, I'm big spending. No guys, I'm hoping this video will make up for my microphone debt. But yeah, I am really happy to get this out. I'm really happy to be back creating. I know it's been a minute, but I'm working on some other projects, some more scripted stuff that, I have a video I'm editing right now. I have another video that I'm supposed to film in the coming week or so, if I can get the script done, that I'm excited to share with you all. So exciting stuff on the way. Expect more chill videos like this in the meantime, in between the longer, more scripted content. But yeah, I'm excited for the future of this channel and where we are going. With that, I of course want to give a massive thank you to all you guys, just from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys for always supporting me, always watching my videos, giving me a place to just yap and talk and spread my own personal opinions. It is so surreal to me that YouTube is a place where I have an audience and people actually care about what I have to say. And the biggest shout out to my Patreon supporters. It is y'all support that keeps this channel alive and running. Thank you guys so much. If you haven't already checked out my Patreon, it's linked in the bio of my channel. It is easily the best place to support me. A few people did leave the Patreon because I guess I just didn't post for a while. I know also when the new year starts, some people's subscriptions get canceled. So now more than ever, I really would appreciate support on Patreon. Thank you guys. And of course, the absolute biggest shout out to my patrons in the shout out tiers. Special thanks to Max, Alex C, Mig D, Anya May, Onyx, Sophie Villarot, Always Been Taken, Alex Mirabal, and Grace. And with that, as always, I have been Ellie. Y'all have been wonderful. And until next time, bye.